If anyone's interested in materials, we have them on the back table. Just see Nicole or Hannah, and they'll make sure to help you with those materials. But we're grateful you're here. Everybody should have a congregational evangelism guidebook. Used to be called Evangelism Simplified. As we have learned and grown, we want to be as precise and accurate as possible. And it is my understanding that congregational evangelism is the teaching of the New Testament, and it is what's lacking in most of our congregations. And we're trying to help churches establish a congregational model where the members work together, where everyone has a place, widows and widowers, the young and the old, the mature, the immature, the new Christian and the elder. Everyone has something to do. And I do believe if we work together, the commission can be accomplished. But it will take effort. It will take a concerted effort. It will take an intentional effort. It will take a cooperative effort. It will take a spirit of humility in order for this to function. The older I have become, the more I understand the value of humility, meekness. Those are qualities that made Moses a great leader. And those are qualities that made Jesus the perfect Savior. And I believe those are qualities that will help us be effective in soul winning. So please continue to take notes. I challenge you to be prayerful. Let's have a spirit of prayer all through this day, as we should every day, because this task before us is monumental. And it's important, it's imperative. And it's my belief that if we do not get this right in this generation, that the church will no longer be in a visible form, at least through church buildings throughout our country, that we will be back in our homes and we'll be worshiping in relative obscurity, without influence, without the ability to move culture. And we certainly want to be a force for good in this nation and throughout the world. And our nation is depending on the Church of Christ to do her job. I know she doesn't understand that. Our governing leaders do not understand that. But our God does. And for America, the United States to survive, the church has got to get this right. So thank you again for being here this morning. If you have questions, I'll be glad to speak with you after each session. We'll have lunch together. I'm looking forward to getting to know you just a little bit more. So how do you get into a Bible study? I hope you left last night with the understanding that this is the power of conversion. It's not about the speaker. It's not about the messenger. It's about the message. And I hope that you don't mistake people's abilities and talents as the driving force of evangelism. Because regardless of your talents and abilities, regardless of my talents and abilities, evangelism revolves around the message, and it revolves around the ability for us to love our neighbors as ourselves. And I believe everyone's capable of doing that. To love the Lord thy God with all your heart, soul, and might, to love your neighbor as yourself. And if you'll do that, you'll get that. Because people can see through gimmicks. They can see through inauthentic tasks. But they know it when it's genuine. People can identify. That's one thing most people can see quickly. Are you genuine? Are you real? In fact, it said at Generation Z, one of the traits of Generation Z, which is our up-and-coming generation, is that the one thing, if you want to connect with them, the one thing they can see through, the one thing they want is you to be real and authentic and genuine. In fact, Aaron Gallagher's podcast, The Authentic Christian, or as he goes through and tries to help people understand that that's so important. And that's why he's so good at connecting with the young generation, because if you're real and authentic, they'll listen to you. I believe that's important to get a Bible study. There's a model that we have developed, and I've noticed through life that successful organizations all have a model. When you walk in Chick-fil-A, you don't see it, but behind the counter, they have a model. It looks very similar, and it talks about the role of each of the components that make Chick-fil-A Chick-fil-A. And they're going to train you in that model. Then they're going to put you where you can succeed and help them complete the model. Ford Motor Company has a model. The U.S. Navy has a model. Oklahoma football's got a model. Your local high school team's got a model. There isn't a successful group. The Lions Club has one that doesn't have a model. So my goal when we started this school was to develop a model. I can remember sitting in my office, even resting, thinking about what does that model look like? And how did Jesus do it? What if you could encapsulate his evangelistic ministry and place it into some model? But I mean that we do it. We model ourselves after what he did. What would it look like? Well, here's what I found. I found that Jesus always, without exception, every time he makes contact. An old soul winner once said, Rob, the best tact is contact. If you don't make contact, you have nothing. I mean, you can have the biggest building. You can have all the Bibles in the world. You can have 1 million back to the Bibles. You have a golden baptistry. But if you don't have people, you have nothing. Last year, polishing the pulpit, Alan, he comes up with these thoughts. And he says, Rob, I want you to speak on what's the one thing you need if you want baptisms. Well, I sat in my office, and I'm reading through the Scripture, and I'm prayerfully thinking about what is that one thing. So I don't know about you, but if I were to ask you that question, I bet many of you would start with water. That's so obvious. There's no baptisms without water. You have to have water, right, for baptisms. And then you might think a little deeper, and you'll peel back that onion and say, well, you got to have a message. It's the gospel. There's no baptisms without the gospel. It's the death, burial, and resurrection. You got to know that. That's true. And I would agree with all that. And he said, well, no, you got to have, how beautiful are the feet that bring glad tidings. You know, how can I accept some man, God? You got to have a teacher. You can't have baptisms without a teacher. Someone's got to teach you. And you keep peeling back the onion until you really get to the foundation of the entire matter. Here's the one thing. What's the one thing you have to have baptisms? People. It's people. You need people. If you have no people, if there's no soul, if there's not a person, there's no baptism. Doesn't matter if you got the gospel. Doesn't matter you got baptistry. Doesn't matter you got the person to teach it. You got to have people. It's the first thing Jesus started with. Now, football teams call them players. Without them, they have no team. The army calls them recruits. Without them, they have no military. The teacher calls them students. Without them, they have no classroom. The dentist calls them patients. Without them, they have no practice. The Lions Club calls them members. Without them, they have no club. You go anywhere, to any organization. You take the people away, the organization dies. I'll suggest to you this morning, and I do this with careful deliberation and a pretty big laboratory. If I would pick one place where the church fails, it's here. It's not number 3. I know you think it's number 3. It's not. It's not number 4. It's number 1. We don't reach out to people. We reach out to ourselves. and if you don't reach out to the sinner, then what good is it? And so the model is critical. The model it's on page 125, by the way, in your book. The model is critical. Look at step number 2, prospecting. The Oklahoma Sooners know how to prospect, don't they? Don't they bring them to the Sooner Stadium and let them feel the grass through their toes, take them to the locker room and let them see their name on the locker, have a jersey with their name on the back? Don't they take them to the trophy room and show them the national championship trophies? Don't they have the booster club with $100 bills falling out of their pants pockets? Don't they take them to the tutors who are going to be taking their tests, helping them study? Don't they know how to prospect their contacts? That's why they call them prospects, D1A, 5-star prospects. They know how to do it. Why does the football team know how to do it, and why don't we? We don't have a clue. So if I'd say the second thing that we lack most is prospecting. We don't know how to do it. I find it sad that the local middle school team's better at it than we are. Well, have you ever seen them prospect a contact? If they can get a kid to come over to their district and play ball. You don't think coaches do that? I did. I would look. I coached for 10 years. I made plenty of phone calls to parents trying to get a kid to come and play for me. Because I know if I can get that kid to play for me, it's a difference maker. What can I do? Prospect, and you start offering things, right? There's boundaries and limitations that even football teams have. Well, we've got boundaries, and at least we should. There are things we should not be offering. Why don't we offer what Jesus offered? Like love. Who's offering that? I promise you MasterCard's not offering it. Now, they'll give you a $50 credit if you refer a family. They're a prospect. How about we give you grace? How do we offer that? How about we offer forgiveness? How about if we gave something even better like hope in a world of hopelessness? Are those not tools? But my question is not do you agree, because I believe everyone agrees with that. I'm not trying to convince you, but here's where I'm at. I'm asking how do you execute it in a congregational manner? How do you go out and execute that in your community? How do the neighbors around you know you offer that? How do we make contact? So let's begin. Her name is Brandy Fleming. And I went to the church and I decided that I need help. because I lack contacts. I lack contacts because I didn't grow up in Red Bowling Springs. I don't know Red Bowling Springs. You did. You grew up there. You played ball. You went to school. You worked with them. And so the one thing that preachers lack, the one thing that we really struggle with, the one thing that you're better at than I am, contacts. I don't know if you've ever realized it or not, but your preacher is woefully deficient in this area. Unless he grew up in the area, unless he worked secularly in the area, under unique circumstances, maybe he can help. But even if he did all that, you're still better because you outnumber him. You know people that are lost. He doesn't. In fact, the hardest part of my evangelistic ministry is contacts even to this day. Like when I get home, see, I'm not in the community. I have to rely upon the local church or the converts, which are my best source, are new converts. I got a friend. I got a daughter. I got a son. And if I don't have that, I'm dead in the water. So here's what I did. I said, Willette, I need contacts. Bring them to me. If you bring me a contact, I'll help you bring them to Christ. And I didn't really know what response I would get. Brandy Fleming walks down the aisle. She has a piece of paper in her hand. To my knowledge, she's never conducted a Bible study. She's a bringer. You can be a bringer. You can bring somebody. You don't have to do the study. I'm not asking everybody to conduct a Bible study. I'm very realistic. That may not be who you are. You may be the left hand, not the eye. You may be the foot, not the hand. That's okay. We all have a role. Bring me somebody. If you care about your neighbor and your family member, bring their name. And she did. She brought the name of Sharon Fisher. She wrote it down on a piece of paper, and she handed it to me. And I read. She said, Rob, is that who you're looking for? I said, exactly. I want everybody to take their books, turn to page 105, and I'll share with you how to do this congregationally, because you don't have an executable file. This is just a wasted talk. I did not come to be a cheerleader. I came to give you executable, practical things to do. So here it is. This is page 105. In the curriculum, it's downloadable, but I'm just sharing it with you in a training class. So you need a prospect list. Now, you can call it whatever you want to. Call it your love list, prayer list, compassion list. This is the list. And for our training purposes, we call it a prospect list, all right? What am I going to do? When you bring a name, I'm going to put that name on the list, because now I have a congregational record and I also have a congregational call of action. And here it is. Brandy Fleming, relationship. She's a friend of Brandy Fleming. Description, she's discouraged. Address. And then I'm going to hit that DA, date added. I'm going to put the date. I'm going to count 3 to 4 weeks, because for 3 to 4 weeks, the entire Church of Christ is going after Sharon Fisher. Everyone. Now, you know what? Resisting one person may be possible. John, you may be able to resist me. I'm sure you can hold me at arm's length and hold me off. Try to resist the Barnes Church of Christ. Just try. When I was preaching at Hillsboro, the elders told me one of their members fell away. And he was a dearly beloved member. The elders grabbed the church one day and they said, everybody get in their cars. We're going to the house. Have you heard this before? I love this. I love this. They take the entire congregation to his house. They surrounded his house and they sang until he came outside. He came outside dripping with tears and said, I'm sorry. It's hard to resist the Church of Christ. Can you imagine what would happen if we all worked on one person, like everyone? Everyone tried to love one person and share with them that we care. That's what we did. That's what this is all about. And so we did this for Sharon Fisher. And how do we do that? Cards. You know why we use cards? I don't recommend you do that to everybody. That was a unique circumstance. But here's what I do recommend you do. I recommend you do it in an inoffensive way. Like this isn't going to corner them. They're not going to feel like they're being attacked. This is a very compassionate way of saying we love you. Now, you got to be strategic in how you do it. We've taken notes through the years, what works and what doesn't work. Now, we have a whole class on this, but let me give you real quick a couple things. Number one, you need to do it 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, not 1 week, not 10 weeks, not 6 weeks, 3 to 4. That's your sweet spot. Number two, instead of one card with 20 signatures, which works very poorly, you do 2 to 3 cards per day for that period of time. And so that means you got to have a coordinator, you got to have somebody sending them out, you got to be very organized in how you do this. So you send them out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to send them out every day. And we're going to, every member, the husband, yes, husbands, listen to me carefully. Look at this. You must write your own card. Your wife is not doing it for you. You know who the most effective card writers are? It's you. You're the most effective card writer we have, because when they read your note, it means something. When you take time, when a young person takes time to write a card, I promise you, you hit their heart. When a 6-year-old writes a card, it's even, oh my, it's like going to write it. Oh, it gets them. And they can tell. They know. Write your cards, brethren. This is not cards to Brother John gets the flu and everybody says, send him a card. I'm not trying to take away from any internal card writing ministry, but I want you to consider this. John's going to come to church whether or not he gets a card. I don't think John's going to fall away because he doesn't get cards. Now, I think it's a sweet gesture to send him cards. I'm not taking away from it. And I think there are some that you can strengthen. But most of our card ministry focuses on John Bella. It does not focus upon the person that lives about a mile down the road's got cancer and they're scared to death. And they're lost. Why are we reaching out to them? Like, why? She gets cards every single day. Every day. I don't know what's going to happen. I've never done this before. And so I'm just kind of waiting to see until Brandy Fleming comes up and says, Rob, she says, I think it's working. She's getting those cards every day. And we're praying for her. We're also having congregational prayer. We're praying daily for her. And sure enough, my wife and I we always try to be early. We looked up and we saw this couple walk in. Didn't know who they were. I've never met her before. So I walked up and said, hey, my name's Rob, my wife Nicole. Glad to see y'all this morning. He says, my name's Jimmy Fisher. It's them. This is my wife Sharon. I felt so good inside. I said, we're so glad you guys are here. They said, well, are you the preacher? I said, I am. Would you do something for me? You guys have been sending cards to me every day. It's pulled me out of a dark place. And would you thank the church for all the cards they've been sending? I said, absolutely. I just got up in the pulpit before we went to class. I said, church, I got an announcement to make on the request of a visitor. And I said it, and you ought to have seen those widows. Just, I was part of this. Isn't it feel good when you're doing a good work and you see it pay off? I love to watch the members when they realize that what they're doing is bringing a soul to Christ. I love it. Sure enough, they went through Bible class. They went through worship service. After that worship service, I waited until it was my turn. It's hard to get through those members. They're loving them. And when they finished doing it, I walked up to Jimmy and said, hey, Jimmy. I said, what'd you think of our service? Oh, I loved it. I said, great. I said, we got a little custom here at this church. He said, what is it? We always take visitors out to eat. Little cafe down the road. That'd be my treat. He said, well, I like to eat. I said, okay. So we get in the car, go down to that cafe. We started with the introductory questions. I do the same thing every time. Do you know why? Feed your cows pretty much the same way every day. Why? Because it works. That's why I do that. I don't have to change. I know exactly how to do this. I sit down around the table. I say, Jimmy and Sharon, where are you guys from? Where'd you guys grow up? Jimmy says, I was a local boy, grew up around this area. He's not a big talker. Sharon Fisher, I'm from the Bayou. That's it. 45 minutes, I didn't get a word in. She explained the entire Bayou, everything Louisiana, nothing she left off. And so I get a complete history lesson on the state of Louisiana. It's okay. That's not exactly what I wanted. I never got to question 2. But they love the conversation. You're engaged, they're connecting, they're smiling. I got it. When we finished, I said, hey guys, I hope I'll see y'all again. Oh, you will, preacher. We love this. All right. Got to the church Sunday night, and I said, hey, church. Now, they didn't come Sunday night. I didn't expect them to. But I got 200 people sitting in that auditorium. I said, hey, brethren, y'all remember that visiting family that came this morning? Everybody's kind of nodding their head. Jimmy and Sharon, I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I need your help. I said, let's go ahead and go back to the card room. And I said, I want everybody to grab a card. And I want us to write a card that says, thank you for visiting, come back soon. Now, I know that most churches have a secretary that sends out the form letter. Brother, getting a form letter from a secretary is like getting a Christmas card from your insurance agent. It means very little, okay? I'm probably going to keep them if I get one or not. I don't put it in my shoebox. I just throw it away. You write me a handwritten card, I will keep it. You keep cards? I do. I got a box of them. I said one day I'll be pretty low in my ministry and I'm going to pull those cards out and I'm going to read them. Most of them I haven't even read. I put them away for a day that I need to read them. And every now and then I'll pull some notes out, and it's amazing what people write. So kind. Cards are very impactful. And so there it is. Jimmy and Sharon Fisher, we're writing cards. So they go back out to their mailbox every day. Cards, more cards, more cards. And then I'm sitting in my office or house with my family, and I get this email from Brandy Fleming. When I read it, I jumped out of my chair. I yelled. My kids looked at me and said, Dad, what's wrong? I said, it works. I got to read it. I saved it. I got to read it for you. I received a message from Sharon's husband, Jimmy. He said he and Sharon had received at least 4 cards a day, thanking them for visiting or wishing Sharon well. He said it's just the type of church they've been looking for, one that would take care of Sharon if anything ever happened to him. Now, Rob, he says he's still praying and trying to let God lead him to where he needs to be. I try to be very encouraging. Even offered to have a Bible study sometime. Now, I wasn't expecting him to message me back so quickly with the question, do you have to be a member there to take communion? Now, Rob, if he's asking that question, don't you think he needs to know a whole lot more? Any suggestions? Suggestion number 1, don't answer the question. That's the first thing I actually said. I said, do not chase that rabbit. You do not start with the Lord's Supper. I said, tell him, hey, if you want to, we would love to tell you about it. We'd love to show you. Just come back to church. I said, Brandy, get him to church. I said, we're this close to the study. Sure enough, on Sunday, they walked through the door, and after service, I said, hey, Jimmy and Sharon, we got a second custom here at this church. Well, what is it? I said, we all love to have people in our home. My wife is the best cook in Macon County, and my daughter is the best dessert maker you will ever meet. Would y'all like to come to the house maybe Monday or Tuesday, and we could visit? And Sharon said, I would love that. And Jimmy says, well, I like to eat. I said, okay. And so we scheduled the time. They came over to the house. My whole job is just to interact. So I start with the questions again. Question number 2. All right, I said, hey, Jimmy, what do you do for a living? He said, I'm a security guard at Bonnell off I-40. I said, tell me about it. He's not a big talker. But Sharon, what do you do for a living? I'm a kindergarten teacher. That was it. I mean, for the next 45 minutes, I heard about we named every child in the classroom. We talked about where they lived, who their parents were, how they do in school. We talked about state testing. Rob, all I want to do is teach. You can't teach because you're testing all the time. And I'm so tired of testing. Rob, they're kindergartners. They're having anxiety attacks because of the test. I'm having an anxiety attack. I had one with her that day. You know what's happening? We're connecting. And we care. People know when you care. They do. They know. We go to the table, we're sitting down eating. Nicole fixes a great meal. We're just, oh boy, it just opens things up when you eat. Always eat with people. It's one of the tools. It's biblical. And so I want you to know, we're eating, and suddenly Sharon says, Rob, can we talk to y'all? I said, what's going on? And she said, there's some things we need to say to y'all. I said, well, sure. And so I've created the environment for her to do this. See, people don't just start like that. She knows they can trust us. She knows we care. And now they're just going to open up. It always happens. It happens every time. Sometimes it takes me 2 minutes. Sometimes it takes me 10 years. But I'm going to get there. So she says, Rob, she says, we want you to know that we're religious people. I said, well, I figured you were. She says, we go to the big community church down there at Westmoreland. She said, Rob, we do mission work. In the summer, we take off work. And we go work in the children's home. She says, I teach Bible class. I said, great. And I said, it sounds like you love God and you like to teach the Bible. And I said, that's good qualities. And she says, Rob, but there's something else. A couple months ago, I got real sick. Had to have surgery. Haven't been back to church. I haven't got one card, one call, one visit in 8 weeks. Rob, no one cares about me. I said, Sharon, I can't even imagine how you feel, but y'all do. I didn't go to this church. I get card after card every day. Y'all pray for me. I've never seen such love. I said, Sharon, we do love you. She said, oh, I know. She says, Robin, there's something else. She says, in all the years Jimmy and I have been married, we have never been invited into anyone's home, ever. And we have loved it. And I said, Jimmy and Sharon, I said, you are such good people. I said, it's getting a little late this evening. Would y'all like to come back next week again and we could continue this? And she said, I want to come back. And Jimmy said, will she cook any more of those meals? I said, oh, yes, Jimmy. What would you like? I like lasagna. It's her specialty, Jimmy. Come back. People love to eat. And so they come back the next week. I have one mission. I always have one mission. I have one mission right now. I will always have one mission, and I only have one mission. It's the same mission Jesus had. I am the one mission man, and we should be the one mission church. The one mission we have is to seek and save the lost, period. Everything we do should be about that mission. Don't you agree with that? Everything. By the way, brethren, you are not the soup kitchen. Your job is not to solve world poverty. I think some churches forget that. I'm not against helping the poor. But we better help them go to heaven, or you have failed. You have one mission, and it's to take people to heaven, including yourself. And so that's all I think about. So they're in the home, and I'm thinking about how can I, I don't have those transition questions just yet. I'm still trying to figure this out. So they're sitting in my home, and I said, Jimmy, yeah? I said, you concerned about the morals of our country? Now, notice how I worded that, morals, so I know where the conversation, I'm leading the conversation. He said, I am. I said, well, what's wrong with our country? He said, Rob, look at the murder rate. Look at Rob, the theft, and man, society is falling apart. I said, but Jimmy, why? He said, Rob, it's all about God. I said, it is? I said, tell me about God, Jimmy. He said, well, we've kicked God out of schools. We've kicked prayer out of, nobody prays. We don't read the Bible. He said, Rob, don't you know it's all in the book of Revelation? I did not know that. And I said, Jimmy, I want you to tell me about the book of Revelation. He said, Rob, it's Armageddon, Battle of Megiddo, 1,000-year reign. He says, it's pestilence, the 7 years. You got to get ready, Rob. Rob, have you not read the Left Behind series? Now, we did all that in 60 seconds. Most people don't know enough about the first coming, much less the second. I'm not chasing the rabbit. And I said, Jimmy, book of Revelation says a lot of stuff. I said, I'm glad you're concerned about our country. He said, I am. I said, Jimmy, I got the solution to all the problems. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I just so happen, let me see if I have them. I do. They're called Back to the Bible. In fact, over here at the table, I just happen to have some Bible set up. Jimmy, would it be okay if we looked at it and wrote? Everybody loves this. He said, sure, let's look at it. That's how I got a Bible study. And so we sat around the table. I opened up my Bible, John 8:32. We began. They loved it. They absolutely loved it. When we finished the study, Sharon makes a fist. She gets the monobrow. That's never good. And she hits the table real hard. Sharon, you okay? No, I'm not okay. Hey, what's wrong, Sharon? She says, I want to know why I've learned more about the Bible in this Bible study than I have learned my whole life. I've always gone to church. I didn't even know there were 2 testaments. She said that. You know how many people are in the same boat? And you just assume they know. They do not know. They have not been taught. You know why? Because they've never done a Bible study in their life. I said, Sharon, I don't know. I said, did you enjoy it? Oh, yes. I'm not upset at you. I've loved it. I said, would you like to come back? Oh, yes, I'm coming back. Jimmy, was she cooking any more of those desserts? I said, oh, yes, Jimmy. What would you like? Peanut butter pie. I said, it's her specialty. Jimmy, come back. And actually, it is. And so she came back. They came back. We did study number 2, and they loved it. They absolutely ate it up. Then they come back for study number 3. During the study, Sharon starts to get teary-eyed. You know what that means? She gets it. I read body language. I'm constantly looking at them, trying to figure out where we're at. Where are they at? She gets it. Jimmy, he don't get it yet. Sharon looked at her husband. She says, Jimmy, I think you and I need to be. Jimmy said, you just wait 1 minute, preacher. Hey, hang on. Wait. Are you trying to tell my wife and I we're going to hell? I said, I never said that, Jimmy. That's not my job. Why did you just say that about me? Can you ask why you just said that? He said, well, I don't know. I said, Jimmy, is it something you've read in the Bible that makes you question some things? I don't know. I said, why don't you just keep reading your Bible? And I'll make this pledge. Here's my pledge. If we read the Bible and you've done what the Bible says, you're my brother and I love you. I'll embrace you. If we read the Bible and you've not done what the Bible says, I'll help you do it. See how simple? I keep things simple. It's not complicated. You don't need to quit Greek. You don't need any syllogisms. You just need to be human. Jimmy said, that's fair. He said, that's fair. So we kept studying. 5 minutes later, he said, Rob, Sharon and I need to be baptized. I said, I know. We took him to the baptistry, baptized Jimmy, baptized Sharon into Christ for the remission of their sins. Here's what I learned. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's my wife who taught me that lesson. And I was in a hurry. I just wanted to get it done. And she says, you can't do that. You got to take time. We got to eat with them and get to know them. Well, I'm a kind of guy, I just want to get it done. There's no McDonald's approach. There's no fast food window here. You've got to invest in people. You have to do that, which means you've got to have them in your home, make meals. Men, run the vacuum. Sweep the floor. Help your wife. Get the house ready. This is Sharon Fisher within 1 year of her conversion. Look at that. 1 year. She's doing a Bible study. On the other side of Sharon Fisher, we have a very poignant restoration lesson in evangelism to restore the lost. You have a friend, family member that's fallen away. It's all part of the plan. She was a result of it. Her name is Betty McCarter, and she's sitting at the table doing a Bible study 1 year after her restoration. Let's go to the other side of the table. That's Richard Pratt last night. I told you his story. He's doing a Bible study. On the other side of the table, that's Jimmy Fisher. He's doing a Bible study. I put a foreign mission trip together. Sometimes every year, sometimes every other year. I'll take a big group, 50, 60 people with me. You know who I like to take with me? New converts, because they get it. It's hard for me to get a member of the church off the pew. But a new convert, they're ready to go. Do you know why? Because new converts don't know that Bible studies don't work. That's why. But members, oh, it won't work. You know, new converts don't know that. Thank the Lord they don't know that. They actually think it works, and they're willing to do it. And our new converts are more motivated and zealous to reach the lost than our members. You know, when you're full-time preaching and the elders complain, Rob, you spend too much time with those new converts. Thank God. If that's the biggest complaint you've got in my ministry, thank God for that complaint. And yes, I do. I spend a lot of time with new converts. I love them, and I don't want to lose them. I strongly suggest you either write that down and memorize that. I strongly suggest it, because that is the theme of Lesson 3. You want to know how to get a Bible study? Care about people. It's really not that hard. You just have to love them. Now, I'm going to take a few minutes and introduce this concept, then we're going to go right into the executable file. Acts 2:47, praising God and having the favor of all the people. So I missed this for 20 years of my ministry. I understood the last half of that verse. I've preached it 100 times. Any church you can join is not the church of Christ, because the church of Christ is one that God adds you to. I preach that to the day I die. But there's something else in this verse. I missed it. And I finally saw it, where it says praising God and having the favor of the people. And it dawned on me that the early church had the favor of the people. The people loved the church of Christ. And then I thought about churches of Christ. I wonder if people love the church of Christ. Do they love us? Do they even know we exist? And I thought about the early church, like the church of the Pharisees. No one loved that church. No one loved that church. How about the church of the Sadducees? No one loved that church. How about the church of the Herodians? No one loved that church. How about the church of the Essenes? No one loved that church. How about the church of the Zealots? No one, all those denominational bodies of Judaism, no one loved them. No one. But they loved the church of Christ. Why? Because the church was a giving church. The church loved people. The church was willing to do whatever it took to help people. And that word favor, the Greek word, it means grace. Grace, have you ever seen it? It says, you know, we're the church of grace. It must be they see that word favor. I don't know where they get this from. But, you know, we're the graceful church. Well, in a sense, we are a graceful church, because we should be a giving church, a loving church. And that's what the word favor actually means. They have the favor of the people. We're a grace-giving church. We give, we love people. Now, I did a word study on that word grace, and here's what I discovered. I discovered that the word favor is only used once in the New Testament to describe a human being. And it's only used once in the Old Testament to describe a human being. Now, the Old Testament example is Samuel. He used that Hebrew word for favor. He had the favor of the people. But in English, in the New Testament, only one. Guess who? There it is, Luke 2:52. There's your word. And Jesus increased in wisdom, that's intellectually, academically, in stature, physically. By the way, that's your job, parents. There's 4 things you're supposed to do. He's 12 here. This is your job. In favor with God, religious, and man, there's your social development. And so if you want to be a soul winner, you got to know how to have the favor of man. And so that means you need to be cognizant of how you treat people. You need to be aware of how people think of you. You need to be aware of your surroundings and how you talk to people, because they are judging the entire church of Christ by your behavior at the basketball game. Did you know that? You don't think they're listening? They'll judge the Barnes Church of Christ by your behavior. When you have the land dispute, a few foot, you're ready to go to war over those few feet. Oh, don't you tell me. I've seen it happen over and over again. Because I'm from the country. I know what happens. Your fence is 18 inches on my side. Of course, it's been there for 30 years. But we're going to go to war over it. We'll put it all over Facebook, right? How many souls do you think you're going to save over your 18 inches? Some say, preacher, what you're talking about today, it don't work. It's too hard. We can't do it, preacher. We live in the age of the golden arches. We don't have time for any of this stuff. Well, I couldn't disagree more, because it's biblical. I'm going to give you a quick history lesson on the creation of all humanity. And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. So when he designed you, he did not design you to function well when you're alone. It's God-given. No one likes to be alone. So during COVID, we learned that lesson pretty good, didn't we? So what happens when we lock people up in their apartments and don't let them out for 6 months? Society crumbled, did it not? Did it not just it was terrible, wasn't it? Mental disorders, emotional distress, drug addiction, pharmaceutical abuses, not to mention the other social disorders that developed. But don't worry, we have this. Oh, yes, we fixed it. We got social media. So we got Facebook and Twitter and X and Truth Social and we've got Instagram and we got TikTok and we got all these wonderful tools. And so what we did as a society, as we developed an artificial means of creating social interaction, because people were alone and lonely, and we have everyone now in the country just about who can get on Zoom or who can get on FaceTime or do something where we can connect. And so we connect everybody through these social, artificial, virtual platforms. But I got news for you. I don't care how many friends you have on Facebook. I don't care how good you are with social media. They will never replace a warm-blooded human being ever. Now, I want to tell you what I've learned. If you really want to know how to get a Bible study, I'm going to give you 4 things you can do. And I'm going to show you why. Because we're the most lonely society the world's ever seen. We are lonely. People don't talk to people. They don't eat with people. Can you just take a step back and think about life, how we function today? All right. Man, it sure would be good to get the golden chick. I'd be number 3. I'd like to get number 4. Well, let's call Uber Eats, and they'll bring it to us. You don't have to get out of the house. And I want to go get the Sonic. Order it on your app. And let's go get some groceries. Well, man, don't worry about it. Bring it to the trunk of your car. You don't have to talk to anybody. And go to work. We'll do it virtually. No need to go to work and talk to people. We'll do it virtually. Brethren, have you stopped to think about how we are being separated and we don't talk to anybody? And do you know how hard it is to evangelize when you don't know anybody? I don't know if it's deliberate or not. Sometimes I think it is. But we're being separated. Walls are being erected between people. And what happens is we forget about the rush. We forget about the joy. We forget about the excitement that exists when you sit down, have a meal with somebody, and look at them in the eyes. You want to have a Bible study? Open up your house. Number 1, open up your house. Get people in your house. Unlock the deadbolt, put out the welcome mat, and I want you to put people in your house. If you'll do that, you're almost guaranteed a Bible study. Now, it's biblical. And daily in the temple, in every house, they ceased not to teach and preach Jesus. Where did they do it? In their house. Acts 2, verse 46, they continuing daily with one accord in the temple, breaking bread. That is not the Lord's Supper. That's verse 42. In verse 46, this is daily interaction. Breaking bread from house to house. Did eat their meat with singleness and gladness of heart. Acts 20:20, how I kept back nothing that was profitable unto you. Notice this, how I have taught you, showed you publicly from house to house. Do you notice Paul didn't tell him, he showed him? He showed him. He didn't tell him. They showed them. Just like our point yesterday. And so here it is. How do you do it? In the house. Put them in your house. If you're maybe a widow or widower, and you feel like maybe I don't know if I should have people in my home, well, go to your preacher. Go to Brother Hinton. Go to somebody. Go to Brother Fox. Say, hey, I'll work with you. I'll help you. We'll collaborate. Why don't we work together and get people in our houses? Jesus wanted to reach Zacchaeus. How did he do it? Zacchaeus, come down from there, for today I must abide at thine house. Why did Jesus want to go to the house of a tax collector? Why? Why can't he just talk to him on the side of the road? You think Jesus wanted to know more about Roman tax policy? I seriously doubt it. I know why he went there. Verse 10. You can quote it, brethren, for the Son of Man. What's the Bible say? You quote it. For the Son of Man came to do what? Seek, save the lost. That's why he went to his house. The house is a very valuable tool. Brethren, when I put you on my target list and bring you into my house and sit you at my table and you eat my food, you are baptized and you don't even know it yet. It's just a matter of time. And I'm not overstating that by too much. Ask my wife. Ask my daughter how many times people come into our home and we don't baptize them. I don't think you understand the power that exists by just having a meal and putting people in your house. One of the Pharisees desired him that he would eat with him. So Jesus, what did he do? He ate with them. Because there's power in the house. Go to their house. Sit down. Put them in your house. Sit down. And in every culture in the world, they understand the power of the house, but ours. You used to understand it because when you were growing up, that's what you did. You went to people's houses and you ate. Grandma always had Sunday dinner ready for who? She didn't know who was coming. She just had it ready. Do we do that anymore? No. We treat our house like prison cells. No one's coming into my house. If I don't know them, I won't feel safe. Okay. You won't save anybody. Number 2, you got to learn how to practice hospitality. Now, having people in your home is part of it, but it's far, far more than that when you look at this word. See, this word has to do with how you treat people once they're inside or when you're out in the community. How do you treat people? The last congregation at Guyman, one of the members said, Rob, I don't know anybody in Guyman. I said, hey, I saw a laundromat down the road. He said, what do you mean? I said, y'all have a laundromat? He said, yeah. I said, I want you to take some soap, and I want you to take some detergent, whatever it is you need, fabric softener. I want you to go to that. I want you to go into that laundry mat. I want you to sit down, and you have a focused audience for hours. They're not going anywhere. Meet people. I was at Glencoe, and I said, I need you to go and meet people. I don't know anybody. I said, they're all seniors. So I said, okay, go to the senior center. Have meals with them. I don't like the food. I don't care. I want you to sit down with people and meet people. Instead of watching Gunsmoke and Matlock and the Riflemen and Little House on the Prairie, get out of your house and meet people. How did you know that I do that? Because we're Americans. That's what we do. We love Matlock. And so we have a routine. We do it every morning. I can tell you what channel it's on and what time it comes on. Because that's what seniors do. I'm asking you to go meet people. I'm asking you to go talk to people. I'm asking you to interact with people, even if it's your next door neighbor. But do something. Go in the mall and walk and sit down at the bench. Hey, what's your name? I did it this morning in the elevator. I met 3 people this morning in the elevator. It's not hard. Just smile at them. I met an air traffic controller. Well, that was easy for me. I mean, it's just not hard. It's just not hard at all. And it came to pass as Jesus sat at meat in the house, behold, many publicans and sinners came and sat with him and his disciples. You know what he did? He got his cell phone out and he just stared at it. No, he did not do that. Oh, by the way, I tested you yesterday. Yeah, I tested you. My family has a test. We always give it to every church. You passed. The test is I walk inside. You always put me in the front of the line. I get a meal and I sit down at a table and I wait. You don't know how many places I've been and not one member of the church sits with you, not one. They will all divide into their groups. And they ignore you. and you're the guest speaker. And if they ignored the guest speaker, I wonder what they do with visitors. Oh, I already know because I've seen it, and I've been the visitor. I'm heading home tonight. I won't make it. I'm going to go as far as my body lets me go. I will stop out Saturday night, and somewhere Sunday morning, I will step in and I will worship incognito. Sometimes it makes me sad. They don't speak to you. They don't even know who you are. They don't ask for a name and address. They have no idea how to treat a visitor. That is the norm, by the way, not the exception. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto his disciples, why eateth your master with publicans and sinners? Why would he associate with those people? They don't get it. Jesus' response is brilliant. He says, they that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. Go and learn what this meaneth. I will have mercy and not sacrifice. For behold, I come not to call the sinner the righteous, but the sinner to repentance. Boy, Jesus just cuts to the chase, doesn't he? I mean, that's just, no one could say it better. Do we do that? Remember Mary and Martha? Martha, there's one thing that matters, just one. Martha was fretting. She was worried about her house. I got dust bunnies in the corner and the Lord's in the house. What is my sister doing out there? I mean, get in here and help me cook. I mean, the Lord is in the house. And I don't even have matching silverware. I'm not a very good cook. He'll judge my cooking, you know that. I can't have people over. I just don't know how to cook. And my house has a musty smell. And we don't want people in the house judging our house. And the Lord said unto her, there is one thing that matters. One thing. Ladies, if you don't think you can cook, I want you to hear me carefully. Go to the KFC. Get the bucket. Put it in the platter. They'll never know. You've been doing it for years at the fellowship hall. No one judges you. Get them in your house. Be hospitable. Number 3. Or if we're counting from last night, you're at number 6. Listen to people. This one took me each one of these principles, I have something I can say about me personally, and I don't mind sharing. This one took me the longest to learn. I'm still learning it. My wife is really good at helping me learn these, but I'm still learning this one. I just listen. You know what happens when you listen? I'll show you. Now, Rob, in my first marriage, glad I was listening. I'm still listening. Just listening. Rob, it's all in the book of Revelation. I'm just listening. Bobby Bates, a great soul winner, he said this. I'm going to quote him. He said, if you show people interest, they'll give you all the information you need. All you got to do is listen. Be a good listener. Elders should be good listeners. I've always noticed that elders don't say a lot. It used to irritate me as a young preacher. Why didn't they say anything? Because they're listening. That's what elders do. They listen. They listen very carefully. The Bible says, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. I tell you what, I'm going to be as deep as Kittles. I'm going to go as deep as Thayer. I'm going to be a theologian just for about 30 seconds. Ready? You know what that means? God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you should listen twice as much as you could speak. There's my theological definition of that verse. Listen to people. Mark 4:24, and he said unto them, take heed what you hear. Why? Because with what you hear, it shall be measured to you. You're responsible. So when people talk about their moral conditions and you ignore it, you will stand before God, and He will ask you, why did you ignore their sin? You can't ignore their sin. They're living in sin. You must address it. In fact, the Bible says in Luke 8:18, take heed therefore how you hear. Be interested in them. Love them. They know the difference. If you're not paying attention, they know. There's a story told about Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He was a sneaky president. He was very humorous. One day, his chief of staff, Bill, came in and said, Mr. President, the dignitaries are here to see you. Should we form the receiving line and bring them in? He said, no, Bill. No, we're not doing it. Mr. President, you must do the receiving line. It's customary. They come from all over the world. No, Bill, we're not doing it. I'm not feeling like to receive. Just send them in to eat. Mr. President, you represent the United States of America. You must do the receiving line. Send him in. He'll see him now. Well, the president says, I'll show you. You think you can go around me? I'll show you. And so the receiving line was set up, and the president starts inviting the dignitaries, ambassadors, the prime ministers, kings, and presidents over to visit. He says, Mr. Prime Minister, come here. Oh, yes, Mr. President, come down here. Yes, sir. I killed my grandmother last night. Marvelous, Mr. President. Oh, it's so good to be here. The pillars are beautiful. The marble of this place is just magnificent. Mr. President, you're doing a good job in the war effort, sir. Keep it up. No one listens. No one listens. The next ambassador comes by. I said, Mr. Ambassador, come over here. I killed my grandmother last night. God bless you, Mr. President. Oh, it's wonderful to be here in the White House. All the tapestries. Eleanor's done such a wonderful job with the decorations here. Oh, Mr. President, thank you for having us. No one listens. Until the little ambassador, he's actually the last one that came through the line. He's from the country of Bolivia. He walks up to the president. The president says, all right, come here, sir, come here. He said, yes, Mr. President, I killed my grandmother last night. Oh, Mr. President, I'm sure she had it coming to her. He's the only one that listened. Are you listening? I strongly suggest you listen. Last, hesitate. Tough one, tough one. It's tough for preachers. Really hard. We're ready for the victory. We're ready to defeat the error. I'm asking you not to. I'm not asking you to excuse it. I'm not asking you to just completely ignore it. I'm just asking you to take inventory of the timing. Jesus was very aware of timing. And that's why during his ministry, he said, hey, let's not make a big fuss about this. My time's not yet. Don't tell anybody what I just did. You know, when he turned the water into wine? And he said, don't tell it. Just don't tell anybody. How about tell no man? Mark 1:25, verse 44, chapter 5, verse 43, Matthew 8:4, Luke 5:14. Don't tell anybody. Of course, what did they do? You should see what this man just did. They ignored him, but he said, my time's not yet. I got 3.5 years I got to get through. Don't rush it. Or maybe it's Philippians 2:15, that ye may be blameless and harmless. Do no harm. You know, sometimes you'll do more harm pulling out the shrapnel than you would if you just left it in. For now. It's a battlefield injury, right? And they got some shrapnel in their leg. Maybe it's real close to an artery. If you pull it out before it's time, you know what's going to happen, don't you? He'll die. Leave it in. Not right now. Just not yet. Are they going to ignore the shrapnel? No, we're just going to take it out surgically. I mean, surely we all understand that, but why is it that we feel like as soon as they say something we disagree with, that we've got to go guns a-blazing and we've got to put them in their place? Why? And so my suggestion would be do what Jesus did at his own trial when they lied about him. He just held his peace. He said, this isn't the battle I need to fight. I'll lose this battle. It's fine. He lost the battle. He lost the trial. He won the war, didn't he? And so it is the case that it comes to doctrine, sports, politics, and money. It's okay to lose. Yeah, it's okay to lose. Even in doctrine, it's okay to lose. Pick your battles wisely. Understand when to fight and when not to fight. And so I don't need to take Mount Version, but I will take Mount Conversion. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But we go to battle over Bible versions with people who are not even Christians. And I think that's a terrible mistake. And I'll show you why I believe that in my next lesson. But there is a mountain I will take. I will take it. So I'm very careful about the battles I pick and what I fight. Pick your battles wisely. That's the theme. You need to pick your battles wisely. Now, I taught you 4 things this morning to add to the 3. You now have 7 principles. We're going to go into the practice. We got the principles. So now we're going to, next lesson, look at that. But before I go any further, let me tell you about Dustin McKinney. Brandy Fleming, she's a bringer. She comes down the aisle. She's got a piece of paper in her hand. Dustin McKinney. Coach McKinney coaches basketball for Red Bowling Springs. I coach down in Cookeville. I got to play Coach McKinney. How do I like to play Coach McKinney? They breed basketball players in the hills of Red Bowling Springs. They just do. And so I'm, Brandy, Coach McKinney? He's got what? Cancer, Rob. It's not operable. Rob, it's really bad. Hey, Rob, can we put him on the prospect list? The prayer, we called it the prayer list. I said, yes, yes. Can we get the card? Yes, yes. So we started. Prayers, cards, prayers, cards, 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 prayers. Hey, Jared, my son, come with me. We're going to go see Coach McKinney. Got in the truck, went down the road, got to the house, knocked on his door. He opened it up. Rob, what are y'all doing here? Hey, Coach, I don't need any game film today. But I heard about your cancer, and I'm here to help you. Rob, what can you do to help me? I said, well, I believe in the power of prayer. I just want to pray for you. Would you let me pray for you? He said, man, Rob, you can pray. So we bowed our heads, and we prayed. And when I finished that prayer, I looked up, and you could tell he was touched. And he said, Rob, you can come back any day to pray for me. Don't worry, I will. Because I have one mission. There's one thing I want, and I'll get it. But I need to love him first. I need him to know the church cares. I can't do it by myself. And so the next week, I took one of the elders, Steve Draper, and I said, hey, Steve, I'm going to see Dustin McKinney. Would you come with me? Rob, I don't know Dustin. I said, I'll introduce you. So you need to take the members with you. You have to teach even sometimes elders how to be hospitable. So I took him over to, we went over to the house, knocked on the door. He opened, hey, Rob, what's going on? I said, hey, Dustin, I got a friend with me. I thought we'd come pray and just check. Well, come on in. Now I'm in the house. I have one mission. I sat around and I said, this is my friend Steve from our church. Hey, Steve, how you doing? We just sat there and talked Tennessee football. That's what we talked. His little son runs through the living room. You probably won't get this, but I'll tell you anyway. I said, what's his name? Neyland. Anybody get that? Anybody? Neyland Stadium. That's what he named his son after the football stadium. And so we talked football. I'll go wherever you want to go. And so as we're sitting there talking, I looked around the house, and guess what I saw? Cards. I saw your card. I saw yours. And I saw yours too. Cards were everywhere. I mean, there's 50, 60 cards in that house. Dustin, where do all these cards come from? Like any good lawyer, I don't ask questions I don't know the answers to. I already know the answer. He said, Rob, it's that church you preach for. They send cards all the time. I said, oh, I read them every day. They help me get through the day. I said, Dustin, can we pray? He said, absolutely. His wife, Natalie, came over. We prayed, and before I left, I saw the lawn was getting really up there. I said, Dustin, I said, man, your lawn's getting pretty tall. He said, yeah. I said, Dustin, I said, you know what? The Willette Church of Christ will mow your lawn until you're better. The elder Steve looked at me and said, we will. Now, when you work with elders, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And so anyway, he said, man, Rob, thank you. We left that night. The elder said, Rob, we need to see you. Walked into the conference room. Hugh Wayne Clark looks at me. It's one of the great days of my ministry. We get it, Rob. I think we understand what you're trying to do. And he said, we are all in. You take a message back to Dustin. You tell him we'll pay his highest medical bill, no questions asked. That's love. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Love is an action word. You got to take action, brethren. They got to know it. We walked back to that house, and I told Dustin McKinney, and they just about bawled on me. Just couldn't believe what we offered. Natalie says, hey, Rob, we finally found a doctor to do the surgery. I said, really? I said, man, I want to go. Can I come? Yes, but Rob, that's too far for you. I said, no, I'll go. I said, where's it at? Vanderbilt Hospital. So that day, we declared it a day of prayer for the Willette Church of Christ. I sent my wife text all day. She updated the church so we could pray all day long. It was a long surgery. Surgeon comes out, McKinney family, over here. Miss McKinney, worse than we thought, Miss McKinney. Miss McKinney, it was bigger than I thought. But I didn't give up. I'm a very determined surgeon. I got margins all the way around it. Miss McKinney, I got it out. Oh, thank you. Hey, Mr. Surgeon. Yes, sir? Can I pray? He said, son, you better, because I've never seen anything like it. And we did. And then Natalie said, hey, Rob. I said, Natalie, would you let me know when I can see Dustin? She said this. She said, you will be the first person he sees. I said, just call me. And she said, I will. And it was about a week or so that went by. She called and says, Rob, Dustin's ready to see you. I said, I'm bringing my family, Natalie. She says, good. I brought my whole family down to their house. We sat in that living room, and I want one thing. I will get it. You know why? Because when you do your job, I get to do my job. And I love my job. But I can't do it without you. But you stepped up. Everybody did their job. So I already know. I know what's going to happen already. I just need to ask. Hey, Dustin, would you like to know a little bit more about Jesus? That's all I asked. And he said, Rob, I'd love to know more about Jesus. I said, I just so happen to have, let me see if I have them. These are the booklets. Oh, wow. No telling what that is. And that's what happens. Now, I do have one question before we dismiss. Do you know someone that's lost? Do you know someone that's lost? Do you know anybody that's lost right now? Do you? Would you send a card? Would you? Would you? Nicole wrote a book for ladies, and I'm going to make a quote because this is Sharon Fisher. She actually wrote one of the chapters. Sharon said, the hospitality we were shown made all the difference in our willingness to get involved in a Bible study. Ladies, how important are you? Because you have to earn the right to have a Bible study. You'll never get it if you don't earn it. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back. We'll continue. Thank you so much for being here this morning. God bless you all.